This channel may feature copyrighted video and audio content under the guidelines of fair use permitted by copyright statute for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. All content and credit go to the original creators. No copyright infringement is intended.
Welcome in, everybody. We are continuing our live stream. So we're talking about the government shutdown. I just got off a live on my other channel. Welcome in to everybody here, everybody that will be here. Please smack that thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to get into what we didn't get into over there. So let's see what they discussed in the shutdown last night.
Senator from Kansas.
Mr. President, thank you. Exactly 1 month ago today, I stood on the Senate floor and spoke about the impact that the government shutdown was having on an already troubled aviation system, and that the traveling public was facing tremendous challenges with that shutdown, and I cautioned against prolonging it. Now, 30 days later, we're still here. I was concerned that if the shutdown continued, it can force the closure of parts of the airspace and lead to further reductions in the air traffic controller workforce. Unfortunately, both these concerns have materialized in what has become the longest government shutdown in our nation's history, with 2,300 cancellations and counting.
I feel like these are where you can get some good information, the truth about what's happening. So I like to listen at this and see what they got to say. And we already know where we are. I mean, right now, the government, they voted, 8 people voted to bring the government back. Democrats, I should say. And like I was showing on the other live stream, these are the 8 people who voted. They got that circulating. So let's see.
Today, Sunday, we will go down as one of the worst days in air travel. I've never seen anything good come from a government shutdown. Lapses in federal funding have made it harder for families to access SNAP benefits. Head Start programs have been put on pause, and thousands of federal employees are unable to receive a paycheck. This dysfunction is damaging enough to our constituents and economy here at home, but it also sends a dangerous message to the watching world. It demonstrates to our allies that we are an unreliable partner, and it signals to our adversaries that we can't work together to meet even the most fundamental responsibilities of Congress. As this shutdown continues, I want to particularly focus on the impact of this lapse funding is having on the aviation industry. TSA agents and air traffic controllers have had to continue working while missing 2 paychecks. It's a stressful job, and one that has grown increasingly more difficult throughout the year. Combine that with uncertainty on how to pay rent, put food on the table, and gas in your car.
Welcome in, everybody. Please smack that thumbs up as you come into the building, and drop down and let me know who's here. Welcome in.
It is no surprise that we're seeing more and more controllers not show up to work. We are already facing a shortage of controllers, and now we are seeing more having to pick up second jobs to pay the bills, or seeing some quit entirely. Our inaction and our inability to gain consensus are deterring young people interested in futures such as air traffic controllers or other aviation professionals from pursuing those careers. The vulnerabilities in our aviation system has led Secretary Sean Duffy to begin reducing flights by 10% at 40 major airports. Airlines, businesses, and general aviation alike are cutting into their operations to make certain that airspace is as safe as possible. It is critical to know that these impacts are not lopsided on those high traffic areas. Small and medium hub airports, such as we have in Kansas, that connect to those 40 are experiencing this pain just as much. While this is a painful step, it is necessary for the safety of the traveling public, and I support Secretary Duffy's decisions. American Airlines indicated to me they've canceled more than 240 flights yesterday and delayed more than 1,000 flights, impacting more than 150,000 passengers. Airlines for America said that staffing shortages disrupted the flights of more than 4 million passengers from October 1 to November the 7th on their partner airlines. And that was before the mandatory reductions were put in place by the Department of Transportation. We can expect more cuts if we do not reopen the government. We saw how fragile our air system is, and it's the reason I highlight aviation and the consequences of the shutdown tonight. We saw how fragile our air system is earlier this year when a series of failures led to a mid-air collision on January the 29th, which claimed the lives of 67, including those of Kansas. That accident forced Congress and our nation to reckon with an issue that has plagued us for decades. Why have we not effectively modernized our airspace system? Since that crash, steps have been taken to train more controllers and improve the aviation system, including a $12.5 billion investment in modernizing our airspace. But those efforts are becoming much more difficult.
Could this be better for the American people? Can this accomplish the goal of making the possession of health insurance and paying for my family's health care more affordable? Now, for those who think this is too complicated, let me say that 72% of Americans who get their health insurance through a federal employer, a state employer, a local employer, 72% of us.
So wait, hold on, y'all. We on to something different because this is what's going on now. This is a Senate live right now. And let's listen in at what they talking about. So he has a, God dang it, I can't see that. Hold on. That's little as heck. So he has a Donald Trump post up here, right? And the post says, I am recommending to Senate Republicans that the hundreds of billions of dollars currently being sent to money-sucking insurance companies in order to save the bad health care provided by Obamacare be sent directly to the people so that they can purchase their own much better health care and have money left over. In other words, take from the big bad insurance companies, give it to the people, and terminate per dollar spent. The worst health care anywhere in the world, Obamacare unrelated, we must still terminate the filibusters. Okay, so I guess this is what they talking about here. How long? Let me see something. Let's just tap in.
Us have a flexible spending account. My family and I have a flexible spending account. 47% of Americans who are in private insurance have access to a flexible spending account. Doesn't mean they take it, but it just means they have access. Millions of Americans are already using flexible spending accounts. What I'm proposing, let's just give the same option to people who are on the individual exchanges. Now, and by the way, let me just make the point. My wife and I, our family, we are on the Obamacare Small Business Exchange. Everybody in Congress is on a Obamacare Small Business Exchange. I am getting my flexible spending account through an exchange. All we're saying is open up the window just a little bit to allow those who are on the individual exchanges to likewise access that which I am getting through the Small Business Exchange. This merely extends what is current law for some people on their health plan to extend it to those who are within the individual exchange. The federal government can take the laws, the tools, the vendors, the department it is already using and implement a pre-funded flexible spending account for those on the individual exchange. Why is that important? Because that can happen for plan year 2026. I'm asking, well, what are we going to do about the people next year? This is about next year. How can we help those folks signing up for insurance right now for 2026? This brings them benefit right now for 2026. Now, let me now kind of go through the differences between the enhanced premium tax credit and a federally funded flexible spending account. And this is kind of the money chart, if you will. If you're with me in concept that maybe this could work, hopefully, I can convince people who might be watching, my Democratic colleagues who might be listening, to give power to the patients instead of giving enhanced premium tax credits to insurance companies. Okay, who gets the money? Under the enhanced premium tax credit, the insurance company gets the money, and 20% of it goes for overhead and for profit. Under the pre-funded flexible spending account, a patient and the family controls the money. What can it be used for? The enhanced premium tax credit, it can be used for insurance premiums. Under the pre-funded flexible spending account, it can be used for real care, if you will. Dental visits, physician visits, eyeglasses, prescriptions, orthodontia. It has more flexibility than the traditional insurance policy has. Who makes the decision? Well, the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rule. Under the enhanced premium tax credit going to insurance companies, the insurance company makes the decision. They decide what care you have, where you get it, and how much you are charged. When you have a pre-funded flexible spending account, the patient makes the difference. The patient makes the decision. She decides where the dollars go. I always use the feminine because women make 95% of healthcare decisions for themselves, their family, for their spouse, for their boyfriend. I always chuckle. Guys are the stupidest thing in the world when it comes to their healthcare. Maybe a couple other things. But the people that care about this are typically women, and so I speak to her. And does it lower cost? Under the enhanced premium tax credit, there's really minimal incentive for the insurance company to attempt to lower cost. So therefore, as costs go up, so do premiums. On the other hand, under a pre-funded flexible spending account, you empower patients to shop, which drives competition. One example, I was once stopped on the street by someone who had seen one of my talks, and she goes, "You talked about using cash or using my flexible spending account or using my health savings account to buy something." There was a MRI ordered for my son's shoulder. My deductible was $5,000.
Wow.
The MRI was going to cost $2,000. I was going to have to pay $2,000 for my son's MRI of his shoulder. And I said, "Wait, do you have a cash price?" "Oh, well, your cash price is $600. If you don't want to go through the insurance company, your cash price is $600. Now, the typical Obamacare plan has a deductible anywhere from $3,000 to $6,800. So if we're talking about an MRI costing $2,000, you're still within the deductible. If you have a flexible spending account, you're not paying for that out of your pocket. You're paying for it with your flexible spending account. And you can ask, what if I give you cash instead? And they'll give you the lower price, not the higher price if there's a lower cash price than there often is. This turns that woman, that family, into an informed consumer, and that begins to drive down the cost. This is the essence of giving power to a patient. The patient picks the best deal for her health and the best deal for her family's pocketbook. The pre-funded flexible spending account doesn't treat someone like a dependent of the federal government. They treat them like somebody who can make wise decisions for themselves and empowers them to make wiser decisions than the insurance company itself can. Now, some will ask, how much money does it cost? The first year, depending on how we structure it, it might cost just as much as our enhanced premium tax credits. Why? Because we're going to take the amount of money that would go for the enhanced premium tax credit and put it into a pre-funded flexible spending account. My Democratic colleagues should like that. They should say, wait a second, okay, it's still given the same value. In fact, I would argue better value, because when you give it to the insurance company, 20% goes to profit and overhead. And when you give it to the patient, 100% goes to real care, but the cost the first year will be about the same. But I will repeat, the difference is where the money goes. Because it goes 100% for real care, there's more value for every federal dollar. And once more, it's in the family's vested interest, financial interest, to purchase wisely. And that begins to drive down healthcare cost. And that, coupled with other reforms in year 2 of this program,
definitely
in year 2, would begin to reflect itself in lower premiums.
Yeah, free health.
So, to conclude, here's the choice before us. We can keep paying insurance companies to hide the cost of higher premiums behind confusing bills, rising premiums, in a system which actually raises costs for many. Or we can give the patient the tool and trust her to pay for her care directly at fair prices with transparency. If we will, it puts patients before insurance companies. It encourages competition. It encourages and rewards smart choices. It begins to make health care truly affordable, not by inflating subsidies, but by unleashing the power of the consumer. Let's stop writing blank checks to bureaucracies and insurance companies. Let's invest in our fellow Americans. If you will, invest in you. This is going to be a little risky. We're doing something different. We'll be saying, oh, I'm not just going to be a Democrat, I'm not just going to be a Republican, I'm actually going to try and come together to find a solution to benefit all Americans. Imagine that. Congress putting partisan politics behind us to come up with a creative solution that actually benefits Americans a little bit out of our comfort zone. It's what we should be doing every day. I call upon us to do that today. We have to be willing to take the risk to solve the problem, not be afraid to do something different. We have to be willing to tackle complex problems, not retreat to our trench, which is labeled Republican or Democrat, and be afraid to come out to find a creative solution. I'm a Republican, but more than that, I'm a doctor who for 20 years tried to care for those who could not afford their health care or their health insurance. I invite my 99 colleagues to join me trying to find affordable health care and affordable insurance for fellow Americans. Let's be creative. Let's do it. And let's not just reject a proposal because maybe my side or your side proposed it. Let's fix health care. Let's give patients the power. And with that, I yield.
What is going on here? Welcome in. Shout out to Thriving Global Joe. Thank you for joining membership. New member. Joe was already a member. Can y'all hear me okay? I stepped away for a second and I didn't know that this stopped. They ain't talking in here. So hold on. Let's go to the beginning because I don't know what they was talking about. Hold on, y'all. I'm glad I came back.
Appropriations bill, but yet the minority leader refused to bring them to the floor. Stood strong when
Start at the beginning.
Has caused serious pain to many, many American families. People who have stood in line around the block at food banks all across the country. And that's because 42 million Americans missed their SNAP payments. Flights were delayed and canceled because control towers are understaffed. People there working are overworked. TSA agents and air traffic controllers have been working for the last 6 weeks without getting paid. Yesterday, there were 2,300 flight cancellations. It looks like it may be even more than that today.
What?
Yesterday was one of the worst travel days in the last 2 years.
Wait a minute, hold on.
And today, and that's because 42 million Americans missed the day. Our veterans need to know that we stand behind.
Hold on now. I was going to talk about the air traffic controllers because it is some information that I was just looking at concerning them. So give me a second. Airlines poised to increase numbers of cancellations heading into Tuesday. So it says, following a Federal Aviation Administration directive set last week, major airlines have preemptively called off flights Tuesday. So American Airlines, about 200 flights were canceled on Tuesday due to a smaller schedule. Delta Airlines, according to FlightWare, approximately 2% of Tuesday's flight from its main line operation has been canceled. Southwest Airlines, Southwest removed approximately 155 flights from Tuesday's schedule. See, that's what I was saying. Like, I mean, sometimes you just got to use your own common sense and pay attention to what's going on in the world before booking flights and all of that, because I had already heard that the flights were delayed up to 6 hours the other day. And then not to mention all of them falling out the sky. So I don't, Anyway,
Mr. President, Majority Whip. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the quorum.
Hold on, because I also seen something. I mean, they wasn't being paid. The air traffic controllers, they're very important, but they wasn't being paid. And now they're saying that they'll be getting afterpay or whatever it's called. I can't think right now. Why is this looking like this? Everything is weird. Okay, where was I at? So it says the FAA's emergency order calls for airlines to reduce operations at 40 selected airports by 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Selected airports by 6 a.m. November 11th by 6% by 6 a.m. November 13th, airlines must reduce operations by 8% by 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's crazy. And November 14th, operations must be reduced by 10%. What the heck? And so the transportation chief agrees. This was 18 minutes ago with Trump's demands to the air traffic controllers while his predecessors slam it, they said. So it was a case of dueling transportation secretaries Monday after President Donald Trump this morning demanded that all air traffic controllers get back to work now. Wow. pledging to punish those who don't and reward those who have worked without pay through the record-long government shutdown. So the Secretary of the Department of Transportation, Sean Duffy, he posted on social media that he agrees with his boss that air traffic controllers need to go back to work, focusing on the president's comments on providing financial bonuses as a reward. But y'all already know that many people have quit. Many people have quit because they have, I mean, if you're not getting paid, you going to work every day, your bills don't stop. I mean, they should have put a hold on that for all the air traffic controllers if they are that important, which they are. So it says, to those who have worked throughout the shutdown, thank you for your patriotism and commitment to keeping our skies safe. That's what Duffy said. I will work with the Congress to reward your commitment. Meanwhile, Pete somebody, Butter Geek, I've never heard of this person. That's Duffy's predecessor who served under President Joe Biden, focused on Trump's threats to the air traffic controller workers. Well, they two different people. And so the president wouldn't last 5 minutes in the air traffic controller. Pete said. He posted. And after everything they've been through and the way this administration has treated them from day one, he has no business shitting on them now, he says. So some context after, it says, after the worst weekend of air traffic control staffing, okay, since the shutdown began, delays due to staff problems. This is what I was talking about earlier, that it was so many hours of delays. So they had no staffing, basically. And maybe that's why Trump is saying get back to work right now. I don't know. But anyway, after the worst weekend for the air traffic control staffing since the shutdown began, delays due to the staffing problems were already reported Monday morning, despite a potential deal to end the government shutdown. So air traffic controllers, like others, expected federal workers such as the federal police, the civilian military, and employees, they are required to work through the government shutdown despite being paid or not. So it's like you don't have no choice. Yeah, they did vote for the government to open back up, but I don't know how quick everything will get back in there. I mean, this all just happened within 24 hours. 8 Democrats voted. They folded. That's what people are saying, with no deal. But it is to the government is supposed to be open back up, and then there was another lady that had been talked about since the beginning of the government shutdown, and her name is Adelita. This woman was supposed to be from Arizona, so she was supposed to be sworn in, and they would not swear her in, and it got something to do with the Epstein files and all of that. But it says Speaker Mike Johnson plans to swear in this representative Adelita. I can't say her last name. Starts with a G, of Arizona, this week when the House returns for a funding measure to reopen the government after a weeks-long stalemate. The sources said. So I don't know how it works, how long it'll take before everything is back up and operating, or how all of that's supposed to be smoothed out. But this person, Adelita, she was elected in September of 2023. But Johnson actually refused to swear this woman in until the Senate Democrats agreed to reopen the government. And they said she would have been the vote for them to release them Epstein files, and that's why they wasn't wanting to vote her in, is what I was hearing. Let me turn this down. But yeah, I don't know how quickly they'll get everything back in. But let me go back to this guy, and I'll come back to this.
Call be vitiated.
Without objection.
Mr. President, yesterday the Senate took a major step forward on the path to reopening the government. The bill before us is simple. It's clean, it's bipartisan, it's a continuing resolution, and it funds the government through January. It's paired with 3 full-year appropriations bills. So let me repeat that. Appropriations bills for the full next year. Now, these are bills that have already passed the Senate with bipartisan support, broad bipartisan support, I would add, and they were negotiated on a bipartisan basis with the House. They're fully funded in terms of veterans care. And look, this is critical. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. Our veterans need to know that we stand behind them. It's also fully funding on food assistance, SNAP, women, infants, and children. That's what we're debating here on the floor of the United States Senate. I believe it's reasonable, it's responsible, and it's ready to go. Let's remember that this shutdown has caused serious pain to many, many American families. People who have stood in line around the block at food banks all across the country. And that's because 42 million Americans missed their SNAP payments. Flights were delayed and canceled because control towers are understaffed. People there working are overworked. TSA agents and air traffic controllers have been working for the last 6 weeks without getting paid. Yesterday, there were 2,300 flight cancellations. It looks like it may be even more than that
Thank you,
today.
Joe.
Yesterday was one of the worst travel days in the last 2 years, and today may be worse. This shutdown has hurt our economy, and it has hurt our country. Now, the government is finally on the path to reopening. It's the right result. This is what the American people need. They need certainty. And opening the government provides that level of certainty that the American people want, especially heading into the holidays. So I want to thank President Trump. I want to thank my colleagues in the Senate and both sides of the aisle who voted to support that. You know, the president stood strong when Chuck Schumer stood here and demanded tens of billions of dollars be sent from the federal treasury directly to the bank accounts of health insurance companies. President Trump's leadership protected taxpayers and continues to protect the country. Now, let's be clear about what comes next. The Senate is going to use the next few months to pass the additional appropriations bills that will completely fund the government for a full year. There is a pressing need to strengthen our economy, to secure our border, to invest in our military, to promote fiscal responsibility, and we have to do that after 4 years of high prices and an open border. That's what Republicans in this body and across the hall are fighting for. And let's be clear, Republicans are making the appropriations process work again. Last year, Senator Schumer refused to bring a single appropriations bill to the floor, even though the appropriations committees passed out bipartisan, many times unanimous appropriations bill, but yet the minority leader refused to bring them to the floor. It's no way to run the government. It's no way to run the Senate. It's not leadership. The debate ahead is also about the many failures of the Obama health care law known as Obamacare. This is a debate that Republicans welcome. Mr. President, health care in America is broken and is unaffordable, and it broke the day that they passed Obamacare. Costs have exploded. Obamacare premiums have gone up 221%. That's what happened since the law passed. And recall President Obama at the time said premiums for families would go down by $2,500. It was all wrong. Democrats have no answer for that other than more direct subsidies directly from the federal government, directly into the bank accounts of the insurance companies. Republicans believe Americans deserve high-quality, affordable health care. Americans haven't gotten that since the day Obamacare became law. It's time, Mr. President, to reopen the government because Americans have waited and suffered too long. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor. Suggest the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Also Brooks.
Okay, we gonna skip to the next person. Oh, this Chuck Schumer. So this is the government. Was this the government shutdown? Hold on, let's see what they told me.
Republican side made in obeisance to Donald Trump. Cruel thing as he's ever done. Donald Trump form be dispensed with.
Without objection.
So, Mr. President, the last 41 days have exposed the depths of Donald Trump's cruelty. He shut the government down longer than any president in American history, took innocent kids, veterans, federal workers as hostages, political hostages, all because he refuses to do anything to fix the healthcare crisis, and instead keeps pushing policies that will cut people's coverage even more. Look no further than Donald Trump's war on SNAP. Last night, the First Circuit reaffirmed what lower courts have already said. Donald Trump cannot take 42 million hungry people as hostages. He cannot withhold the benefits they need for food for their families. Even now, Donald Trump isn't satisfied. Today, even more cruel, he appealed to the Supreme Court yet again to try and get out of paying full SNAP benefits. The president's done a lot of cruel, nasty, mean things over the years, but going all the way up to the Supreme Court, not once but twice, to ensure kids go hungry is about as cruel a thing as he's ever done. Donald Trump would rather make hungry Americans suffer, make kids suffer, make veterans go hungry and disabled individuals suffer, than do anything to lower health care costs for the American people. The American people will not forget Donald Trump's cruelty and heartlessness over the last 6 weeks. And let me say something else. The American people have now awoken to Trump's health care crisis. Health care is once again at the forefront of people's minds. People now see that premiums are about to skyrocket. They're terrified about how they're going to pay for their insurance. Democrats demanded that we find a way to fix this crisis and quickly, but Republicans have refused to move an inch. So I cannot support the Republican bill that's on the floor because it fails to do anything of substance to fix America's healthcare crisis. The healthcare crisis is causing millions of families back home sleepless nights because they don't know how they're going to afford healthcare insurance so much needed by their families. Doing nothing is unacceptable, but that's the choice the Republican side made in obeisance to Donald Trump. Republicans now own this healthcare crisis. They knew it was coming. We wanted to fix it. Republicans said no, and now it's on them. When people's out-of-pocket costs double or triple, very soon Americans will know Republicans made it happen. When 60-year-old couples start paying $20,000 a year for health insurance, they'll know Republicans made it happen. When 4 million Americans lose insurance, when kids with cancer are priced out of coverage, when families face financial ruin, they'll know Republicans made it happen. And the pain will only get worse as more and more people on ACA and with private insurance see their premiums go up and up and up. People out there are struggling. It's harder to make ends meet. Rent is up, groceries are up, people's electricity bills have gone up, and now thanks to Republicans, healthcare costs will spike dramatically. The past few weeks have exposed with shocking clarity how warped Republican priorities truly are. While people's health care costs have gone up, Republicans have come across as a party preoccupied with ballrooms, Argentina bailouts, and private jets. Republicans' breach of trust with the American people is deep and perhaps irreversible. And now that they have failed to do anything to prevent premiums from going up, the anger that Americans feel against Donald Trump and the Republicans is going to get worse. Republicans had their chance to fix this, and they blew it. Americans will remember Republican intransigence every time they make a sky-high payment on health insurance. Yield the floor. Note the absence of a quorum.
Call the roll.
Ms. Alster-Brooks.
So I want to go and see what Gavin Newsom have to say. But I'm going to skip to the next person. This is crazy, y'all. This is not, most people are saying they folded, they didn't get anything, meaning the Democrats, they didn't get anything solid.
During that time, we will pass 3 bipartisan appropriation bills that will fully fund SNAP, WIC, and all the veterans programs, and finish our work on the remaining spending bills for this fiscal year. The agreement would also reverse the Trump administration's mass firings during the shutdown and prevent future ones through January 30th. We credit Senator Kaine of Virginia for this provision. Leader Thune has also promised the Democrats an opportunity before mid-December to present a Democratic bill on the floor with proposals to change the law and protect American families from dramatic health care premium increases. It is my fervent hope that this ends up being a bipartisan effort. It would be such an achievement of the Senate to finally return to that status. I've served in the Senate for 29 years, and I've never seen that kind of offer from a Senate majority. During the historic roll call last night, I walked across the aisle and met with Senator John Thune, the Republican leader. I told him that I was counting on him to keep his word on this agreement. He assured me he would.
Do we have anybody in the chat who lost your health insurance? Because people are losing their health insurance. I just got a text message from somebody that theirs lapsed. So elderly, retired people are definitely losing their insurance, which means no medicine. How can they afford their medicine without this?
The fate of this effort depends on both the Senate and the House of Representatives. After a 7-week absence, the Speaker Johnson needs to call his members back and join us in the hard work that lies ahead. Many of my friends are unhappy. They think we should have kept our government closed indefinitely to protest the policies of the Trump administration. I share their opinions of this administration, but cannot accept a strategy which wages political battle at the expense of my neighbor's paycheck or the food for his children. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Now we all just wait and see what happens. I mean, what's going to happen after this one? Oh, what's happening here? Do I have to sing somebody?
I'll never forget, as long as I serve in public office, and probably for my lifetime, the conversation I had with senior citizens in Pueblo, where they basically were telling me that their entire retirement was spent fighting to get prescriptions filled that their doctors had assigned them, prescribed them. Seniors in other countries, in other industrialized countries, don't spend their retirements doing that. Only in the richest country in the world do seniors have to do that. And that's because a lack of transparency, a lack of clarity is built into our healthcare system from top to bottom. But we took some important steps in the Affordable Care Act. I wish that it had included a public option. It didn't. I think that the rate of rise of our healthcare inflation would have been a lot less.
Am I popular today?
By the way, that is what the people that have looked at that bill and scored that bill over the years have said. We've been fighting for it now for a decade and a half. They've said that it would actually save the government money because it would lower healthcare costs. It would introduce some competition into our insurance market. And I'll say this to the presiding officer, he'd probably be amused by it. This is the one place where I really am a Bolshevik. I believe in universal health care for all Americans. I think we should provide that. to people in this country as a right. There is no reason not to do it in the richest country in the world, especially if we can save half of the cost of healthcare that we're providing now. And families all over my state, all over Colorado, are fighting to get their kid the mental health care that they need, are fighting to get their parents the prescriptions that they have been prescribed, are fighting to hold on to their own health insurance, because that also has become less and less affordable over the years. That is a fight that no one else in the industrialized world has to have. And I think it's important to point out that most of the people that I'm talking about, almost all the people that I'm talking about, are working for a living in this country and still can't afford health care, still can't.
Yeah, that's true. And 1 minute ago, it says Schumer says Republicans own this healthcare crisis after Senate passes deal without extending subsidies. So they didn't have any extension, anything, any type of deal or anything. And so, yeah, they did vote to reopen the government back up. But that's what I'm saying. What is the deal after this? What happens next? I mean, everybody, I never read Project 25. Maybe I should. But airlines poised to increase number of cancellations Tuesday. We talked about that. Hold on. Let me see what he's talking about. So Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer blamed rising healthcare premiums on the Republicans, arguing they will own the healthcare crisis. Now, that's what I heard somebody saying. Well, they'll have to own that now because it's all in their hands. They can't blame it on the Democrats because they voted. But what does that mean? Like, it just means that they folded. But I don't know, man. We just got to see where the chips fall. I'm covered either way.
Can't afford the peace of mind.
But it ain't just about me. It's about my loved ones. It's about everybody, people that I don't know. All of that. What somebody say? Gary said Project 25 got it going on. You think so? Yeah. I read a lot, Richard, if you're trying to be funny, but I ain't read that. Okay? That's not my first priority in life. I read every damn day. Let's go.
They know that if their kid breaks their leg on a hike or breaks their leg skiing or needs to have...
And did you read it since you know so much?
The benefit of a mental health counselor, that's something that our safety net provides. Because healthcare should be a right. It is a right. And whether you get it or not shouldn't be determined on how wealthy you are or where you live, Mr. President.
Okay.
And I think given the rhetoric that I hear out here sometimes about makers and takers and all that other stuff, it's important to point out that almost all the people that I'm talking about are working or taking care of children or are retired. We should have a universal health care system in this country. But in the meantime, Mr. President, we shouldn't be making matters worse, which is why this debate is so crazy. When we passed the Affordable Care Act without a single vote from the Republican Party in the House or the Senate, they said that they were going to make President Obama a one-term president. They said I was going to lose my Senate seat. In fact, I was asked on national television whether I would lose my Senate seat as a result of my vote on the health care bill. And I said, if that's the cost of being here for that period of time, it's worth it. I'm happy to lose based on that vote. And they ran ad after ad after ad during that campaign, attacking me for being the 60th vote for the Affordable Care Act. And because I survived and a couple other senators barely survived, we were able to preserve that bill, and 30 million people who would have lost their health insurance in America didn't lose their health insurance. And then the efforts in the House began to repeal the Affordable Care Act. And Mr. President, they voted, I lost count, I think it was 70 times to repeal the Affordable Care Act in the House of Representatives. At least 70 times. They never were able to do it. And the longer it was there, the more people came to see the benefits of the insurance protection, came to see the benefits of the expansion in Medicaid, came to see the benefits of at least having a little bit of comfort that they couldn't just throw you off your insurance because they felt like it. And now we have found ourselves in a debate related to the tax credits that so many Americans rely on to make the insurance just a little bit more affordable. I wouldn't say affordable. I'd say a little bit more affordable. I'd say barely affordable, but somewhat more affordable at a moment when grocery prices are what they are, at a moment when rent is what it is, at a moment when we're dealing with the incredible uncertainty that these tariffs are causing. It would seem the least we could do is not make matters worse. The least we could do is extend the benefit, the tax credit, so it's a little bit easier for people to buy insurance for themselves and for their families. But just like, Mr. President, with the passage of the Affordable Care Act, when not a single Republican supported it, just like when they voted 70 times in the House of Representatives, 70 times to repeal the Affordable Care Act, during this period, this episode, this shutdown, the longest in American history, the Republicans have voted 15 times to take away those benefits from the American people that they're relying on just to make insurance a little bit affordable. And we have taken the position that we shouldn't make matters worse. And Mr. President, that's why I voted again against the budget that's been proposed by President Trump and the Republicans, because they refuse to extend the tax credits. They refuse to make things just a little bit better for the American people. I can't say I'm surprised by the position. Who could be surprised? After a vote on the Affordable Care Act where nobody joined it, all those years of voting to repeal it, running to make President Obama, they said, a one-term president. And now the vote day after day after day to not provide the American people the benefit of those tax credits. And before this debate closes, I just want to say again, Mr. President, that the current system is in dire need of help. The American people are hanging on to their fingertips when it comes to the cost and availability of health care. There is no rich country in the world that doesn't have a universal system of health care. There is no rich country in the world that doesn't routinely supply access to doctors and primary care, access to mental health care for families and for kids, prescription drugs that don't cost an arm and a leg. It is not a pain point for those people in their in the different phases of their lives, much less a pain point every single day, which it is for the people that I represent in Colorado. So apparently President Trump is going to get his way. And those tax credits are not going to be extended by the majority here. And the cost of health insurance in Colorado is going to increase by 200% for some people, 300% for some people, 400% for people that are living in rural areas in my state. That's thousands and thousands of dollars to a typical family that just doesn't have that kind of money, Mr. President. And I just want to remind everybody in this chamber that when this debate is done, we still have a very important project that we need to be engaged with the American people. And that is to be able to provide a healthcare system like other wealthy and industrialized countries have provided, where people can count on their health care, where they know it's not going to cost them an arm and a leg, where they know in the course of their lifetime, there are other things they can worry about, like the cost of their rent and the cost of food. But one thing we're going to do is take care of this problem, just as countries all over the world have taken care of it for their citizens. I wish I could say that the politics around healthcare have gotten better over the years that I've been here. They really haven't, Mr. President. But I think that the debate that we have had in this moment is going to serve to clarify who's fighting to try to make this system better for the American people and who's not. I guarantee you this, as long as we have President Trump and the White House and a majority of the Republicans in this chamber, we will never have political leadership that's fighting for universal health care, that's fighting for a public option that can be available to every single family in America. By the way, that's my proposal. It relies on everybody in America to make the best choice for their family. It's not something that would be imposed from here. It'd be the chance for every family to say, you know what, I'll stay with the private insurance I have, or actually I'd rather be on a system that's run by Medicare, where I know I'm going to have access to mental health care and health care for my family in a predictable way. And I'll just close. I can see my colleague from Massachusetts. I'll close by saying my heart especially aches for young people across this country, the people the age of my own daughters. I had a young woman ask me the other day, a recent graduate of Western State in Gunnison, Colorado. She said, I'm coming off my parents' insurance when I'm 20, after I'm 26. You'll remember we put that in the healthcare bill. Before that, there was no opportunity for people to stay on their parents' insurance. We did it. We said you get to stay on until you're 26. But then she said to me, Senator, what am I supposed to do? Take 2 or 3 jobs to pay for my health insurance when I have to come off my parents' insurance? And I said, that is exactly the right question. That is a question that 26 and 27 and 28-year-olds are not having to ask in any other industrialized country in the world, only in the United States of America.
Now, those are probably some people nobody thought about, the ones that are younger, that don't have higher paying jobs that allows them to afford that, and they usually be on the parents or whatnot. Those, like I said, everybody is going to be affected. After him, we gonna go on to Hakeem and Schumer and see what they talking about.
Are we running a system where young people in their 20s have to decide between health insurance and their rent, or health insurance and food, or
sound like everybody gonna have to move back in with their parents to take care of the parents. You know what I'm saying? And they can help each other out. You know, that's what it sounds like. It's gonna have to go back to finding meals and creating things like growing your own stuff like that. Yeah, just I don't know how this about to all play out, y'all. What y'all think?
Health insurance and the ability to put some money away to save for a house. And we should change that. I believe strongly.
It's gonna be more of everything that's been going on in the world plus some. Because people, like, we already have it where people only deal with their kids because of the benefits, and now it ain't no benefits to the kids. So I mean, it's all bad, but these are things that I'm thinking about. Children will suffer more, just like they suffered more when the pandemic happened and they went to homeschooling. Then they opened schools back up. Parents still claim they was homeschooling. You know how many children was deceased or living alone because they parents was lying, talking about that. It just, it's gonna be a domino effect.
That if we ever get to the point where we're expanding Medicare in this country, we should do it for the younger kids that are in their 20s first, because they've done absolutely nothing to design the system that they're inheriting. Mr. President, with that, I yield the floor.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna go on. Oh, why it ain't unmuting me? But okay, let's go on to these.
Mr. President.
The senator from Massachusetts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, our dedicated federal workers deserve to get paid.
Let's go here.
Good afternoon, everybody. From the very beginning of this year, Donald Trump and Republicans have failed to deliver on their core promise to lower the high cost of living in the United States of America. In fact, what Donald Trump and Republicans said is that costs were going to go down on day one. But costs haven't gone down. They're going up. Inflation is going up. Under Republican policies, housing costs are going up. Childcare costs are going up. Grocery costs are going up. Electricity prices are through the roof.
Okay, Gunner.
And now, because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, tens of millions of Americans are about to experience dramatically increased health care costs. In some cases, their health insurance premiums will increase by $1,000 or $2,000 per year. That is unacceptable. It will be unaffordable for working class Americans, middle class Americans, and everyday Americans to be able to go see a doctor when they need one. And so House Democrats and Senate Democrats have been fighting hard to address the Republican healthcare crisis and to lower the high cost of living for everyday Americans in the United States of America. Because the reality is, America is too expensive. And far too many people are struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. They can't thrive, they can barely survive. And that's why Democrats have been waging this fight. And we'll continue to wage this fight. No matter what comes over to us from the United States Senate to the House of Representatives at some point this week. Our position as House Democrats has been crystal clear. We will sit down with any Republicans, anytime, any place, anywhere, in order to find a bipartisan path forward, but we're not down with their my way or the highway approach to governance. That's failed the American people. It's been a disaster for the American people, and the American people know it.
Definitely going down.
Which is why last Tuesday, Republicans all across the country got wiped out. One of the most decisive off-year elections ever in modern American history. And so as House Democrats, we know we're on the right side of this fight, the right side of the American people. And we're not going to support partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people. And we're going to continue the fight to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. And if it doesn't happen this week, next week, this month, next month, then it's the fault of Donald Trump, House and Senate Republicans, who continue to make life more expensive for the American people. Questions?
Some Democrats in your own caucus are suggesting Schumer is an effective and Senate Democratic leader and should be replaced. You, of course, are critical of this deal. Do you view him as effective and should he keep the job?
Yes and yes.
Do you trust, in this deal, there is language for President Trump and the Trump administration to reverse some of the firings that happened during the shutdown? Do you trust that the Trump administration and the president is going to sign off on that and reverse the people who have been fired?
We'll have to evaluate the legislative language, and we'll have a caucus meeting later on this afternoon, and we'll get a presentation from Rosa DeLauro, the top Democrat on the Appropriations Committee. The overwhelming majority of Senate Democrats, led by Leader Schumer, are opposing this bill in the Senate. And they'll articulate, there are a variety of different reasons that the bill is being opposed strongly by Democrats in the Senate, the overwhelming majority of them. And there'll be a variety of different reasons that we articulate in the House. Now, certainly we're going to continue to stand by our hardworking federal employees. By the way, Donald Trump and Republicans, this toxic administration, they fired more than 100,000 federal employees prior to the shutdown that they started beginning. So, of course, there's reason to be deeply skeptical of the administration and their motives as it relates to the hardworking federal civil servants and the federal workforce. And we will continue to be deeply skeptical of their intentions. They spent the whole year implementing the toxic parts, the most toxic parts of Project 2025, after lying to the American people last year, saying they didn't know anything about Project 2025. And part of that has been going after the federal workforce. So we'll see what the language looks like, but it doesn't change the core problem here, which is we need to decisively address the Republican healthcare crisis on behalf of working class Americans, everyday Americans, and middle class Americans. Thanks. Third row.
So Dr. Oz said that millions.
Who?
Dr. Oz. There are millions of phantom enrollees under the ACA. Is that being looked at? Makes it so that people that are on ACA are paying more, inflating the number.
That's like the most random way to start a question on a serious topic. Nobody who's serious in this country takes Dr. Oz seriously. No one.
Dang.
And I mean, it's shocking that the guy even was confirmed. But
wow.
This is part of the reality of Republicans here in the House and over in the Senate. They're nothing more than a rubber stamp for Donald Trump's cruelty and extreme agenda.
Are the phantom enrollees being addressed, though?
I have no idea what Dr. Oz is talking about, and neither do the American people. Now, with respect to the Affordable Care Act, here's what I do know. That Republicans have tried to repeal the Affordable Care Act more than 70 different times in the last 15 years. They don't operate in good faith when it comes to the health care of the American people. And of course, as Democrats have repeatedly indicated, we're open to sitting down and having a bipartisan conversation about how to fix our broken healthcare system overall. But I'm not going to respond to any comments from randos like Dr. Oz, who is woefully unqualified to be in whatever position he holds in the administration. He's a joke. These people are jokes. But the issue of the healthcare of the American people is very serious. And that's what we'll continue to focus on.
He said Dr. Oz was a joke. Interesting.
Here's what I understand about the SNAP situation. Republicans this year, on July 3rd, subsequently signed into law by the current president, enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, ripping away health insurance from at least 14 million Americans, and at the same period of time, cut $186 billion from SNAP. Republicans did that.
186
this year.
billion.
They literally ripped food from the mouths of hungry children, seniors, and veterans so they could reward their billionaire donors with massive tax breaks that they made permanent. That's what Republicans did. They've launched an all-out assault on SNAP. They've weaponized hunger and starvation here in America, taken SNAP benefits away from more than 1 million veterans rather than honoring them tomorrow, which is what should be taking place in the United States of America. Republicans have done that. And so these people can't be trusted on the cost of living issue. These Republican extremists, they can't be trusted on the healthcare issue. And they certainly cannot be trusted on the SNAP issue.
As you know, this has been the longest shutdown in American history. You've seen chaos at airports, delayed SNAP benefits, people losing their jobs. And yet, the deal that Democrats agreed to has been a deal that's been on the table for a while now. Still no policy outcome on healthcare. So what do the American people gain from the past 41 days?
Our fight in the House of Representatives will continue to address the Republican healthcare crisis. We'll continue that fight today, tomorrow, this week, this month, next month, this year, next year. We're going to continue that fight to fix our broken healthcare system and lower the high cost of living for the American people. And the American people know that we're on the right side of this fight. It's part of the reason why you saw decisive Democratic victories last Tuesday and crushing Republican losses all across America. In Virginia, in New Jersey, in New York, in Pennsylvania, in California, in Mississippi, in Georgia, across the country, up and down the ballot. Because Republican policies have failed the American people. And as Democrats, we're going to continue to fight to make their life better. Thanks.
Throughout the shutdown, you referred to your Senate colleagues.
Oh, okay. Can I get everybody to please smack the thumbs up if you haven't by double tapping the screen or hitting the 3 dots upper right? Please smack the thumbs up, y'all. It's the only thing that helps the channel. I'm not asking for any money, anything like that. But welcome in to everybody here. And yeah, thank you, BFF, for that reminder. Jeffries is a joke and a liar. Listen, man, we got who do we believe? Ain't none of us there, right? I mean, you got to listen at both sides and use your common sense, to me, like, to get to the truth. Like, I don't believe everything somebody say, but I'm looking at actions and I'm listening at words and I'm seeing what's happening. So, I mean, that's pretty much what you got to do.
Courageous for rejecting the 14 previous attempts to reopen the government without an extension to the affordable tax care credits. Those 8 Senate Democrats who voted to start the process of reopening the government, do you still include them in that characterization of courageous Democrats who have kept the fight going throughout this shutdown?
Well, I don't have much to say about those individuals, and they're going to have to explain themselves to their constituents and to the American people. I certainly believe that Senate Democrats, the overwhelming majority of Senate Democrats, led by Chuck Schumer, have waged a valiant fight over the last 7 weeks, defeating the partisan Republican spending bill 14 or 15 different times, week after week after
The third guy at the top, I do believe that's him that just got in less than 24 hours.
week and continue to oppose this effort of passing legislation that does not address the Republican health care crisis by extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits. But the fight is getting ready to shift back to the House, where we're going to work hard, hold the Republicans accountable. All of these loudmouths on the House Republican conference side, who's been saying for the last several weeks,
man, listen,
that
I feel like this a dog and pony show. Like, I mean, come on. What are we looking at? They all
we have
full
to
of
extend
facts.
The Affordable Care Act tax credits. Now is their chance. This week, they have to come back from their
Especially
7-week prolonged taxpayer-funded Republican vacation. They can no longer hide.
Yeah, Trump won again.
They can no longer hide.
But
Mike
we
Johnson
knew that.
apparently still hiding.
I knew that.
Refused to even answer a single question today. That's extraordinary. But they're not going to be able to hide this week when they return
They all in
from their vacation. Thanks.
Speaking of the House, Speaker Johnson has not committed to holding a vote on subsidies, even though the Senate agreement would have them do so. What do you say to that? And then also, what do you think that would do to the relationship between Republicans and Democrats on the House side?
Well, the failure of Republicans to address the healthcare crisis that they've created in the House and in the Senate is no surprise, because House and Senate Republicans multiple times this year have been given an opportunity to vote to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, and multiple times this year already, in the context of the debate around their one big ugly bill, they voted against, unanimously voted against extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits. So over the last several weeks, it's become increasingly difficult for them to hide from their position as it relates to the health care of the American people. And House Democrats, joined by our colleagues in the Senate, we're not going to stop the fight. We're going to continue to lean into the fight over the next few days and beyond until we actually get an outcome that makes life better for working class Americans.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. There's already extensive backlash coming from the Democratic base over feeling shortchanged by Senate Democrats who secured this deal without touching on health care. What do you think that this backlash can mean for the party going into the midterms next year, and also for the voters who just handed Democrats a decisive victory? Do you think that this will make them feel also shortchanged, disenfranchised, demoralized? Do you think that this will lead to a switch up?
House Democrats are going to take back control of the House of Representatives next year. I've said it before, and if I said it, I meant it. Now, with respect to the senators on the other side of the Capitol, they're going to have to explain themselves. But the overwhelming majority of Senate Democrats continue to remain in the arena fighting to fix our broken healthcare system and address the Republican healthcare crisis. This fight for us is not partisan. It's not a partisan fight. It's a patriotic fight. We're waging this fight on behalf of the American people. The 5 states that are most impacted by a failure to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits are West Virginia, Wyoming, Alaska, Mississippi, and Tennessee. 45% of the people, of the Americans who are going to lose health care or be at risk of losing health care if they don't, on the other side of the aisle, extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, 45% of them are registered Republicans. 35% registered Democrats, and 20% unaffiliated or independent. This is not a partisan fight for us. It's a patriotic fight. You know, one of the people that I met early on during this Trump Republican shutdown came to Capitol Hill was a 29-year-old named Mariah Plant. She's from rural Wyoming County in West Virginia. Her older brother is nonverbal, autistic, and requires 24-hour care.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. For sharing. For sharing. For sharing. Thank you for sharing. Please subscribe and press that notification bell and thumbs up. Please subscribe and press that notification bell and thumbs up.
Please take this time to smack the thumbs up if you have not. So let me go to this right quick. I know he was talking about some autism or something, I think I just heard him say. But this is something that the president posted. And this, I was just reading an article about the air traffic controllers, and we heard, what's his name? Duffy say something about this. So this is what the president actually posted at 10:23 or 10:28 today. Today is the 10th, right? Or is, hold on. Yeah, today, this morning. All air traffic controllers must get back to work now. Anyone who doesn't will be substantially docked. For those air traffic controllers who were great patriots and didn't take any time off for the Democrat shutdown hoax. What the heck? I will be recommending a bonus of $10,000 per person for this distinguished service to our country, or distinguished service to our country. Dang, he got money to just throw around. So they'll get 10,000 bonus plus they back pay. Is that what he's saying? I don't know if he's just talking, but we'll see what happens. So for those that did not, who did nothing but complain and took time off, even though everyone knew they would be paid in full shortly into the future. Nobody can afford that. People don't have bank accounts. You know what I'm saying? People don't have savings. But anyway, he said they knew that they would be paid in full shortly into the future. I am not happy with you. You didn't set up to help the USA against the fake Democrat attack that was only meant to hurt our country. You will have a negative mark, at least in my mind, against your record. If you want to leave service in the near future, please do not hesitate to do so with no payment or severance of any kind. You will quickly be replaced by true patriots who will do a better job on the brand new state-of-the-art equipment, the best in the world, that we are in the process of ordering. The last administration wasted billions of dollars trying to fix antiquated junk. They had no idea what they were doing. Again, to our great patriots, God bless you. I won't be able to send you money fast enough. I won't be able to send your money fast enough. To all others, report to work immediately. God bless America. President Donald J. Trump. Man, okay, so the person that shared this said the president wouldn't last 5 minutes as an air traffic controller, and after everything they've been through, and the way this administration has treated them from day one, he has no business shitting on them now. And then the person that posted it said, President Trump to air traffic controllers who face staffing shortages before the government shutdown and have been forced to work throughout it without payout. Okay. Yeah. So what do y'all think about that? Utter chaos has erupted among the left-wing base as The View is nuking Chuck Schumer for letting his party cave in. Let's see what they say. Very quick. Hold on. Oh, we can't listen to all this applause. Hold on. You ain't got time. We ain't listening. Hold on, let me go back to what we was listening to. Let's take it back a little bit. What y'all think about that though, with the air traffic controllers? Let me see what y'all saying. What do y'all think about what the president said to them? And do anybody have any flights planned? That's exactly what I was talking about. What do you think about that? Man, what? That's wild. If I was an air traffic controller, I would have quit day one because I'm just saying. So that's how I feel about it. I would have quit. Like, it's been, the government been shut down 40 some days, and the rent keep written, the mortgage keep mortgaging, the bills keep coming. Okay, they are not caring about the government shutdown. They want their money. People going to court every day about to get put out of their places because they ain't got it. So you can't tell the light company to wait till the government shutdown is over. They should have protected those people that way. And if they did, then they wouldn't have no reason to quit. Then I would be like in agreement with it. Other than that, if you can't hold off a bill off my ass, don't be demanding me to do nothing. Because my bills got to get paid and my household got to eat.
That's Virginia. Her older brother is nonverbal, autistic, and requires 24-hour care.
Clinton also did this during the...
And Mariah is able to provide that care to her older brother.
I don't know what Clinton was doing because I wasn't on YouTube. I wasn't covering politics or nothing. Let's talk about now. Like, this is the only thing that matters. What's happening in the world right now at this current moment, in my opinion. I don't know what the heck they was doing back then.
Lovingly and affectionately.
Politics.
Because of Medicaid, that Republicans have now cut by the largest amount in American history. Her hospital in rural West Virginia is at risk of closing because of Republican policies in their one big ugly bill. And at the same time, this 29-year-old loving caregiver for her older brother gets her health care from the Affordable Care Act. And it's affordable because of the tax credits that Republicans now want to rip away from her. And so I'm fighting for people like Mariah Plant. Very different than the people that I represent in Brooklyn, New York. But she's an American, just like I represent hundreds of thousands of Americans. And that's what House Democrats are doing. We're fighting for the American people.
Have you spoken to your Democratic colleagues in the Senate who voted to reopen the government?
Oh, let me move this.
What do you make of the argument that Republicans would not discuss healthcare during the shutdown? So they said there's no choice but to vote yes.
I have not spoken to them. Thanks.
Different topic, Mr. Leader, if you don't mind. President Trump announcing widespread pardons for the group of people that were involved in providing alternate records, as they called it, in the 2020 election. And he also is allegedly...
When I said quit, I meant get another job. Like, I'm not going to... 40 some days shutdown. Your bills want to be paid like every 28 or something like that. Like, so this person would have already, if they don't own their property or whatever, people would already been put out. Or have to move in with somebody. Like, nobody, if you don't have money coming in, and if you're not rich, where you got money just sitting around, where you could, most people don't have that. So you're going to have to do something to pay your bills. So, I would quit and get another job. I wouldn't just quit, and not work anywhere, Joey. Depressing me by politics. All right, reading books. It's okay. I get it. Because that's why I haven't been talking about it. Because it's too much. It's stressful. It is. Just thinking about it. The unknown. What's going to happen and all this. You just got to trust in your higher power. trust in God, and also use action, whatever that action may be. But everybody is figuring out things for their household, and I know I have. I mean, everybody do. Everybody is affected by this, man. Some people just agree on one thing, civil war or something. They just want this stuff to happen to see, how pressed the American people will get and if it'll end up spilling out in the streets like that. I mean, everything is being tested. I heard American citizens can be deported.
A commutation request from Ghislaine Maxwell. Just wondering about your thoughts about the way the president has handled his pardon power, especially given how critical he was of President Biden.
Well, Donald Trump, in terms of the exercise of his pardon power and commutations, is completely and totally out of control. Like, he can find the time to pardon a serial fraudster like George Santos, but can't find any time to sit down with Democrats on Capitol Hill who represent half the country in order to address the healthcare crisis that Republicans have created. That's devastating people in urban America, rural America, working class America, small town America, the heartland of America, and Black and brown communities throughout America. And so what we're seeing with these toxic pardons and commutations coming from Donald Trump is more of the same. And look, the American people know these extremists on the Republican side have gone too far. And the crazy part about it is that they went too far on day one of Donald Trump's presidency. And it's been downhill ever since. On day one of Donald Trump's presidency, this guy pardons hundreds of violent felons who brutally beat police officers, 140 of whom were seriously injured. Life-threatening injuries in many cases.
It was a woman
and
that
then
died,
unleash
too.
these people
Right.
on communities all across the country in ways that put those communities at risk. And what we've seen from Donald Trump since day one, since those toxic pardons of those violent individuals, is more of the same. From a person who promised to lower costs on day one, but doesn't give a damn about the American people.
Okay, so let's see. It says right here, breaking news. Speaker Johnson demands all U.S. representatives to come back to work immediately so the government can open as soon as Senate finishes. You need to begin right now returning the Hill. Okay, let's see.
Long days and long nights here. So air travel has been grinded to a halt in many places. And as of Sunday, nearly half of all domestic flights, U.S. flights, were either canceled or delayed. It's a very serious situation. So
Yeah.
I'm saying that by way of reminder. I'm stating the obvious to all my colleagues, Republicans and Democrats in the House. You need to begin right now returning to the Hill. We have to do this as quickly as possible. Now, we look forward to the government reopening this week so Congress can get back to our regular legislative session. We have a lot of business to do, as you all know, and we will be working in earnest. There'll be long days and long nights here for the foreseeable future to make up for all this lost time that was imposed upon us. I want to close with something that's important. I think it's important to say that this is genuine. I mean this sincerely. We applaud the 7 Senate Democrats and 1 independent senator who did the right thing. They decided to put principle over their personal politics. And my urgent plea of all my colleagues in the House, that means
Can I please get y'all to smack the thumbs up? It's 140 with 54 thumbs up or 172. Can y'all please hit the thumbs up, y'all? It's free. Double tap the screen. Show me some love. Y'all in here listening.
Democrat in the House.
Damn.
Is to think carefully, pray, and finally do the right thing and help us to bring an end to the pain of the American people. This has gone on too long. Too many people have suffered, and it's long overdue. That's the update I wanted to give you this morning.
Yeah, I don't know about how they feel about people suffering or not. But let's go. Let's finish up with him.
And what has taken place over the last 41 days is that the American people have seen Democrats fight for them fight to make life better for them, fight to drive down the high cost of living for everyday Americans, and fix our broken healthcare system in the face of this overwhelming Republican assault on the healthcare of everyday Americans. And Republicans continue to stand up for the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected.
Thank you, Leader. Whether fair or unfair, Leader Schumer is taking a lot of heat from members of your own party. Why do you think he is the right leader for this moment? And why do you think he should stay leader of Senate Democrats?
Yeah, as I've indicated, listen, Leader Schumer and Senate Democrats over the last 7 weeks have waged a valiant fight on behalf of the American people. And I'm not going to explain what a handful of Senate Democrats have decided to do. That's their explanation to offer to the American people. What we're going to continue to do as House Democrats, partner with our allies throughout America, is to wage the fight to stay in the Coliseum, to win victories in the arena on behalf of the American people, notwithstanding whatever disappointments may arise. That's the reality of life. That's certainly the reality of this place. But we're in this fight for all the right reasons, because the extremism that has been unleashed on the American people is completely and totally out of control. Life hasn't gotten better for everyday Americans under Donald Trump and compliant Republicans. It's gotten worse. And the American people know
I feel like this is what all of them want.
it. And we've got to continue to stay in this fight until we end this national nightmare. And that's our commitment to the American people. We're in this fight until we end this national nightmare and can get back to a place where we continue America's long, necessary, and majestic march.
All righty, let's see. So Gavin Newsom, he said, it sounds like some of my colleagues in the Senate just decided they're playing by the old set of rules and may have rolled over. Right now, we've got to hold the line, because I think America will become unrecognizable in a year unless we fight back. We heard something like this. Let's see.
Sounds like some of my colleagues and friends in the United States Senate, some of my Democratic colleagues just decided that we're playing by the old set of rules, not the new set of rules. It may have rolled over a little bit. So I love your question. It's the right question. I want to be part of that answer as an American citizen, not as a governor, as the ex-governor of California. But
So
right now,
behind you are the flags of the United States, Texas, and California. California, I get. United States, I get.
Wait, hold on. Let me let him finish.
right now, we've got to hold the line, because I think America will become unrecognizable in a year or two unless we fight back. I worry now.
Okay.
Sounds like
Now let's get to this.
Why are we in Texas?
To thank everybody for being part of this remarkable Tuesday that really galvanized and energized people, mobilized them all across the country, not just in relationship to Prop 50, which I was here to thank them for, but I think just the energy that the delegation from Texas brought to the Democratic Party, to democracy as a whole, when they stood up and pushed back against.
Okay, can I get y'all to smack the thumbs up? We got 131 with 57 thumbs up. Or 106. I don't know. It's different wherever I'm looking at. Welcome in, precious pieces. How you doing? Oh my God, Lion Newscomb. Somebody said, or Kimberly said, I'm not a Republican either. They're both BS. Yes, they both. It's a game. I don't know. Everything is better under President Trump. You think so, Catherine? Only thing that has gotten worse under Trump is the Democrats' open violence. What? Knock it off. Stop it. Stop it now. Every violence that happened recently was Republicans. From Tyler Tyler, his family, they said they was all Republicans. But anyway, it don't matter. I don't claim none of the titles. So, not none of them. All right, let's keep them going. But y'all smack the thumbs up. We got 58 thumbs up. Why? You're here listening. Support the channel and the content. They are all jokes. You got dang on right. Yes, yes, yes. Go Newsom. Yes. I live in California. Newsom's mouth is moving. He's lying. Oh, when his mouth is moving, he's lying. Man, who do y'all trust? Who do you trust in the administration we have right now? Let me know. Type the name. Because everybody says everybody is lying. And in the beginning of me covering this, I had no idea this is the way that they roll. Like, if you lost in this, you just lost. Now, it's places you can go for the truth. Number one, common dang on sense and paying attention. That's all I'm going to give you.
Greg Abbott and Donald Trump's overreach. And I really think in many ways that was the beginning of this comeback. This is the beginning of sort of a resurgence of energy. And you've seen it, the No Kings rally. You saw it obviously with the outcomes, not just in Virginia and New Jersey, but in Mississippi and Pennsylvania and Georgia and elsewhere. And I wanted to make sure that they knew how important they were.
So you're saying that the legislators, the state legislators, leaving the state for 2 weeks, protesting, denying the legislature a quorum for this unusual mid-decade redistricting that President Trump wanted them to do, that was the impetus that gave you the energy and the idea to do what you did in California?
Just go back in that moment. I mean, we were hand-wringing. You guys were coming out with a poll on top of NBC polls at 27%. We had a high watermark of 33% approval. The Democratic Party was primarily because Democrats were so upset about Democrats. It was a demoralizing time. And had they not asserted themselves, had they not shown up in California and in Illinois and other states, had they not called this out with a kind of clarity and conviction to really sort of underscore this moment, yeah, I don't know that we.
Can y'all help me get to 100 thumbs up at least? We need to get to 100 thumbs up real quick. It's very important to get to the 100 thumbs up. I mean, just to hit the thumbs up, you're here. This is really annoying, y'all. Smack the thumbs up. It is free. It don't cost you any money. So I'm putting these people in. They already have said, I already had showed this picture of the people the 8 people that voted Democrat side for the government to reopen. Okay. And then these are the names that they have attached. And let me see whoever posted this. They said, basically voted to support a funding bill that fails to address the Republican health care crisis. Man, what the heck just happened? What are we doing here? Okay, let me let him keep talking. Wait, let me see what y'all saying. Who do you trust in the administration right now? So, Andy, you trust Trump? Kimberly says no one. Yes, please, let's go. Get the goddamn likes up. What are you talking about, Crust? Already did it. Thank you, Kimberly. I really appreciate the ones that know how to play YouTube. It's so important. So important. So everybody lies. The USMCA is another policy. Welcome in, Larry. How you doing? Let me guess. She's a Democrat. I ain't. Did you just get here? I'm none of that. Okay. My mom didn't name me Democrat. Like, I ain't claiming none of that. Period. Anyway, hit the thumbs up. And welcome to the channel.
We'd be in the position we're in today. And certainly Prop 50 would not have been inspired, because this, again, what was happening here, the phone call that I got from Gene Wu is what launched this entire process.
That's the House Minority Leader here in Texas. But let me confide something in you, okay? When you came out and you announced Prop 50, to say nothing of the merits of it,
yeah,
I'm generally I like independent commissions, okay?
Yeah.
But beyond my own personal views,
yeah,
when you came out with this, I thought, That's a big swing. I don't know what's going to happen politically. Just as a political move, the polls were against you.
Yep.
Schwarzenegger was against you.
Yeah.
Good governor groups were against you.
Yeah, that's right.
And ultimately, it didn't. I didn't know it was going to be.
I mean, the first poll was 38%. Just to underscore that, and again, because I
don't know none of these people to say that they lying or whatever. I really don't know. I don't think nobody knows. I think people just support who they support, and they believe who they support, and everybody else is a liar. That's what I see. People pick sides, and they, that's where they want to stay at. But I just see a bunch of people pointing fingers at each other. Like, okay, so the speaker Mike Johnson, he posted this, so he must be saying something. Let's listen at him right quick. It says after 40 days of the Schumer shutdown. Man, let's listen.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very thankful to see you all this morning. I'm thankful to welcome you to what appears to be the beginning of the end of the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, as shameful as that is. I don't think it's coincidental, you know how I think, but it's after 40 days of wandering in the wilderness and making the American people suffer needlessly.
Did they pick 40 days so he could say that? 40 days and 40 nights?
That Democrats finally have stepped forward to end the pain. It appears to us this morning that our long national nightmare is finally coming to an end, and we're grateful for that. At least some Democrats now finally appear ready to do what Republicans and President Trump and millions of hardworking American people have been.
OMG, I had no idea we had got to this time. We about to get up out of here. Y'all not hitting the thumbs up anyway. I had no idea. I ran a campaign for years and both parties worked together, steal your money. Exactly. That's exactly what it felt like too. Like, listen, they all on the same side. Whatever. Yeah, I believe that too. I can't speak for anyone else. I can't speak for anyone but myself. And life has been better for me every time Trump has been president. Okay. Now that's good when you can judge it off of your life and say that things are better or whatever. But this one is a little bit different. And yeah, it's a lot of things going on. Somebody said Trump is a racist con that has never been successful unless he stole, cheated, and lied to get it. Wow. I've heard that, and people, I've heard that people say that he don't pay his workers and all this kind of stuff, like he's had to be sued. I don't know. I never followed Trump either. Like, I didn't follow his last presidency, but this one definitely got my dang on attention, and that's why we're here. But we definitely follow. We cover politics over here, also YouTube stuff, but that's on members only. And I have a crime channel that I went live earlier talking about the government shutdown. So some of the things I talked about over there. But one thing for sure, two for certain, we are all paying attention over here, and you definitely can subscribe. Smack the thumbs up if you haven't. We still want to get to at least 100 thumbs up, y'all. Is so freaking important. I see a lot of people that type Trump that they trust in the or believe. But anyway, y'all still ain't hitting the thumbs up. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. This is 4 hours live for me today. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Make this go viral. Politics. Peace and love, y'all. We out.